The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brandon Peters Show in 2025. After a little bit of a break, I'm back, and joining me today to discuss the release of her film Bystanders and, of course, the 1970s splatter classic, The Wizard of Gore, Jamie Alvey.
Hello, Brandon Peters' listeners. I have returned. I am back.
He's back. Said listeners, I appreciate you enduring my break time. I just needed some time off. January is a good time to just do that. It's my birthday month. I'm just kind of holidays gas me out. But I had a really busy end of 2024 that was a lot of stuff I didn't see coming, and just I was exhausted, and I was like, I don't feel like recording a podcast at this time just to have episodes out there. So I finished up the year. I was having it was a combination of a lot of work stuff and some health issues I had. As of this time, I'm feeling pretty good health-wise. And yeah, I was working on Doctor Who documentary for PBS. It was it was only for a few days. It was a lot of like stress, pressure, blah blah blah. Oktoberfest was big, just family, all sorts of things, and I was just like, I want a break for a sec. Especially going back to having Louisville PopCon at the end of August into September. So it's like, yeah, I had a lot going on. Wanted some time to myself. But now we're back here because classic Brandon Peters Show guest, legend, Jamie Alvey. We have your movie that we've been talking about since your first trip to the show, Bystanders, from an idea and script to development. And we have followed this all along, and now it's available on PVOD for those to check out.
I am no good at this. Just let Bree do it. We don't have all evening. The party's gonna be over by the time you get done. Besides, don't you want to look good for Cody?
Right, yeah.
Good. Strong a little bit.
Not so sweet anymore, are you? Gonna carve you pretty little things up just right.
Run! Go on, get! Go! Go! You run faster!
You can't tell, Mitch, you haven't met just one little slug begging for it.
Please! Stop!
No, I really can't say that I have. No, please.
Yeah, this is wild because I said, you were the first person that was like, yeah, let's talk Bystanders. And I was like, please. So you've been in on this, for a while now, so long. And thank you. Because here we are now. We've seen it through from script to screen now, and it actually exists. And sometimes I'm sitting back and I'm like, this really exists. This is not just in my head now. And I'm just sometimes speechless still that it exists, because we went from 2016 having the idea to now.
Yeah.
Freaking wild.
Yeah. It's like a 9-year journey.
I said my whole 20s was Bystanders.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm really excited for the next chapter that we've got going on. And so she, apparently.
Yes. So Yeah, so since the last time with Bystanders, you had a film festival run. I think we were last time we talked, we were like off camera, we were talking about waiting on like when's a trailer gonna happen. That was something you weren't sure of. But now we had have a film festival run that happened. So if you want to go over a bit of that.
So we
Okay.
premiered at Horror Hound in September, and like it was the most bizarre thing that I can imagine in my entire life because we were nominated in every category. Like we were like Amelia Perez if it were actually good. Because I'll say this, I'm like, you know what? People may not like it, but I love it. I
Yeah.
made the movie I wanted to see, and I love it. And like 11 nominations and 7 wins. And every one of them was deserved. And oh my God, like I didn't expect to get nominated for playing Claire. Like I was just doing it for, the love of the craft and the character, but I I'm like, in what world do I get nominated for acting and slicing people up and shit?
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, and then Garrett Murphy, who plays Gray, actually won his uh for a brilliant performance, and like it was bizarre just from top to bottom, but like a good bizarre. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is like the best case scenario I could have ever imagined. And like we went on to win best horror film out of Nightmares also. And we had that short festival run. I went up to New York for the first time
Mm-hmm.
with Sanders. And it's just it's been weird. It's been like breakneck whirlwind after like waiting for so long for this to exist. And like it was really well received by the audiences at all the fests. It was weird to have people come up to me and hold my hand and be like, this is one of the best movies I've seen all year, and like actually mean it.
Yeah.
And like some of them are like, oh, I can't wait to see what you do next. Like I've had people that were like, you are just naturally funny. And oh, like I have never I won't lie, I've never had this many people praise me at once
Mm-hmm.
in my life because I'm so used to people just being just so stupidly critical of everything that I do
Yeah.
say. So it was kind of a weird change of pace, and I've been learning to take that because usually the self-doubt with them being like, hey, they don't mean this, they're just being nice. I'm like, well, most people don't go out of their way to say something nice. Most
Yeah.
people usually just like, I hate you, go die in a hole. But like no, like people actually were pulling me aside and telling me just how great they thought it was and how great they thought we all were. And I don't know. I was like, oh my God, people actually like this. People have been talking about the twist and the performances, and um of course there are people that don't understand it, but most people come from a very rich horror background, and so they understand that this is in the tradition of a very gritty 70s grindhouse exploitation film
Mm-hmm.
style um, horror movie. And they really get it. And so that it's been humbling, and it's been bizarre. And think I've waited my entire life for this because I feel I said, I don't know if I've ever felt so confident in myself as a writer because I have put myself out there to be liked and disliked, and it's been really empowering though to just go on this journey, especially on this little fest journey, because I finally just connected with people that actually got what this was supposed to be, and I was like, geez, is this what it's like? Is this
Yeah.
what it's like outside of my head? Because of course I always had like those girly daydreams about, when the gore was finally over and we would take this out on the fest circuit, and it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
It-
Have you actually sat with any audiences at those watching it?
yes. Oh
So,
my God. That is my favorite thing to do.
yeah.
That is my favorite thing to do, is to sit with people
How
watching.
many times have you done that?
I've done it several now.
Like,
I was at Horror Hound. I
Mhm.
was at I did a little private showing for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I did New York. And oh, it plays so. I hope that we get to do more screenings. Everybody annoy everybody and make sure that we get that. Just demand it.
Yeah.
But be loud and be obnoxious. You have my consent. It plays so beautifully on a big screen. You get to see all those little details that you're missing on your television in your living room, and you really get to see just how nuanced the performances are. You really get to see just everybody react to it. And that's one of my favorite parts, is just watching people watch Bystanders.
Is there any like common like moment or moments that every audience acted the same way to? Like they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they do this at this part.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
when Claire kills Travis with the rock.
Mm.
It's like, oh my God, like people are either like, yes, or they're like, what the hell is happening? But you just hear it. Like there's either
Yeah.
or just people are just like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening, but this is the best thing ever. And then you have Gray at the road, and like everybody is just like, I don't know what's happening. And then the twist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody, so getting to hear people react in real time to that has been so delicious, and just it's one of my favorite things ever. But like hearing everybody react to just the kills and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
oh awesome. Like the castration in there, everybody's like, it's too good, it's too good. I need to hear everybody laugh
Yeah.
at everything, because yeah, it is. Oh, excuse me, a rape revenge horror movie, but I have a very dark sense of humor, and Bystanders as a result is very funny. Because I believe in making fun of rapists.
Mm-hmm.
And I always will make fun of rapists because they are pathetic, and we need to take them down a peg. And what more do these kind of men hate than being laughed at?
Yeah.
Laughing at them. And everybody was like, I didn't expect it to be this funny.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but it's a good kind of funny. Like you're punching up at
Yeah.
these, you're taking the power from them by making them a joke. And I was like, exactly, because that's what they want. They want power.
Mm-hmm.
Just hearing everybody laugh, like guffaw. Like there's a line Claire has that I was trying to hit. It's hard to hit something to the effect of, it's hard to hit a small target, and I was aiming for your dick.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking loses it at the same time on that one. And like just hearing them just literally just start like at Horror Hound, like some people were like about wheezing at some,
Wow.
I was like, this is joy, this is pure joy.
Yeah.
So watching it with people, getting to see people react to it, that's been one of like I think one of the greatest blessings that I have ever gotten in my life. And there's nothing more than I love to like actually just sit among people and hear them just interact with it and just really take it in. And oh my God, like I wish I could do it right now. Like
Gotcha.
it's been just one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And you know, after like 8 years, it's been worth it.
Yeah.
It's been worth it to get to this moment. And like I get really emotional about it all the time. Like I've cried several times on like several podcasts about bystanders, but it's been worth it.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. And I I think it's only going to get better from here on out. And
Right.
I've had people tell me that like in a time where nothing feels empowering
Mhm.
and nothing is good, this movie feels empowering.
One we need right now. I was very happy to see that script to screen. It really didn't lose, but still was very as like mean and nasty and ruthless as it was when I read it when I saw the film, and I was pretty happy to see it. It didn't look like much compromise came at all from it. Like looked like it
Yeah,
really.
most of the changes were safety and budget related,
Mhm.
and I get that. Like I'm not gonna put my cast at risk or my risk for
Yeah.
anything because that's the thing. That's the problem solving part of it. I'm the writer. Like, tell me what I can and can't do. I will adapt it. I have that ability because some of the kills were crazier, but like they're still just as mean. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot that we didn't have to sacrifice in the end. And in the result, it's still mean and it's still ridiculous and it's still fun. Because who doesn't love to see a bunch of rapists like stabbed and tortured?
Right. Absolutely. Um. So were there any like deleted scenes that felt like, oh, I wish that would have made it?
There's um there's a few things that are deleted that did not make the cut. They're little things. There's one that I really wish that had made it,
Mhm.
mostly because it's such a sweet, tender moment. We did film this. It's after Jacob has a hold of Claire at knife point. Like
Mhm.
there's a part where like Gray is just holding Claire. And I remember shooting that, and I was actually really keyed up. And I'm just standing there, and I'm like, I felt like absolutely just because your body sometimes doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not when you're
Right.
full of everything. And like, it's just a nice, calm moment in the storm. But there are some things that we did have to cut out of the script because of that we didn't film, and there's one that I would love to have had in there, and a lot of people have talked about this, so if you want the lore, you're getting it. I have told a few people that have engaged with me in actual good faith about it. We don't show any of the violence towards the girls, particularly on screen. But we did show Bree's body in the script. Bree's,
Okay.
yeah, as they were going through the woods to find the boys, they find Bree. And we had to cut that because of rain, and I wanted that in there so bad, and I wish it had been shot because they find Bree, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking because Claire tells Abby not to look, and she's trying to take care of her, and Bree's eyes are still open, and Gray stops and he closes them.
Mm.
And it's a really raw moment, and I can't imagine what that would have been like to have filmed because full disclosure, Bree is played by Callie Kirk, who is the closest thing to a sibling I have in real life. We're both only children, our families are family friends, and like they're like family.
Mhm.
And she's never known a life without me, and I cannot imagine what that would have elicited out of me, let alone Garrett, who plays Gray, because he got very close to Callie on set as well. He treated her like a kid sister, which is something that I'm grateful for because I'm always nervous of who I trust around Callie, and I trusted him implicitly. And I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad we didn't have to film it, but I think it would have been a really beautiful, really raw moment had we gotten it in there. But I really wish that in the end that it had been in there. So those are the two things that I think it should that I would have liked to have seen that kind of didn't make it. But that's just me.
Gotcha.
Like,
There's a moment there too where there was an actor in there that I was like, who the fuck? I know who that is. I know who that is. And it was Hannah Fearman, who was the memorable character from the original VHS movie, which I was like, oh crap, you got some
we had
legit people in this thing.
we did. We have Hannah Fearman and Cheney Morrow who come in. Apparently, I'm just gonna yawn 5 billion times.
That's how tired you are of talking about Bystanders, right? Yeah.
So no, like you know what? I would talk about Bystanders for like thousands of years. People would get sick of me. They would be like, Jamie, stop. We get it. We get it. You're autistic. You love your own work. You love this. We get it. But Hannah and Cheney are so cool. Like they're so nice. And I talk about this a lot, but there I was in that bloody bridesmaid's dress, and Hannah Fearman looks at me and says, "You look hauntingly beautiful like that." And I have been riding that high ever since because I think Hannah is like absolutely gorgeous. And like when you have somebody like it's just that thing where you're like when somebody you're just like me. I've kept that like sometimes I'm like when I feel bad about myself I'm like no, Hannah Fearman thinks you're pretty. So I've kind of kept that, in my back pocket, and that's I'll say that's one of my proudest moments, like just being covered in blood and it's like you're hauntingly beautiful and I'm like I've arrived. This is what more could you want? What more could you want? You're the weird macabre girl who loves fake blood. What more could you than Hannah Fearman telling you you look hauntingly beautiful?
Hauntingly beautiful.
I've peaked.
And then
we can only go up.
Cheney had just done, I think probably by the time you were filming, he'd done the Ethan Hawke movie with Maya.
Yeah, that's so funny that you say Cheney doing the Ethan Hawke movie because I have been joking that Garrett is the result of Ethan Hawke taking the substance. I've joked that Garrett is the result because
that's funny.
He looks a lot like a young Ethan Hawke. Even my dad said that unprompted.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, I said that, and then it made it in the movie because Bob, who plays Cody, ad-libs. He goes, "Come on, Ethan Hawke-looking motherfucker." Oh, no, this is now ingrained in film history. Good job, Jamie. But yeah, Cheney's everywhere. Like, I was so excited every time I see something, and I'm like, "There's Cheney." Like he's killing it, and like he's just so sweet. Like he's a good guy, and like I'm always excited to see what he does because he's got range, like the most insane amount of range that you can imagine, like the coolest guy ever. And there he is playing Cody's awful dad and killing it, almost literally.
Yeah, good stuff there. Now, do you know yet if Bystanders is going to get a physical media release?
Well, we could, if you all, talk about it and annoy people and keep buying it on digital, you can make another one of my little girl dreams come true of having my own movie on physical media. Because I am as we know, I'm passionate about physical media to the point that I have a region-free DVD Blu-ray player.
There you go, yeah.
So get on that, buy this movie, rent this movie, talk about this movie, even if you don't like it. If you like me or you think I'm funny or at least have a little bit of artistic merit, please do so and make this happen for us, because I know several of us are really wanting it. And I've talked to like some of the frat boys and stuff, and like they're excited. So you can really like help. You can be our fairy godparents here. So you can help us out. So
Gotcha.
we're really hoping for one. Like it's possible, and I've got my fingers crossed. I'm very hopeful for it. But yeah, I want to put my own Blu-ray on my shelf.
And if here, you know what? I'll put it out there. If they don't have bonus features ready or they don't do a commentary, we'll record one. So
Hell
people can
yeah.
so people can sync it up and listen to it together. We'll do
Yes.
that.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be perfect. We could bring Callie, and then
Yeah.
I'll
We can make a whole group project.
oh yeah, I'll hint at this, because Callie has one of the funniest stories, because not only was she Brie, she was hair and makeup.
Okay.
She did that whole bridal, like that freaking bridal bridesmaid look on me for
Mhm.
like 2 straight weeks.
Gotcha.
That stayed on my face in Kentucky summer humidity. That bitch is amazing.
There you go.
Every part of her, like I cannot speak more highly of Callie, but Callie also helped out Ben Miller. Shout out to Ben Miller, who's also amazing. She helped him with the blood and the guts and the gore and everything. He was like, he basically took her under his wing, and they were a unit on this.
Gotcha.
And Callie had to run an errand for the castration scene.
Oh,
She had to run an errand for the castration scene, and
Okay.
Callie, the intimate details of what went into creating that castration scene.
gotcha.
And I'm gonna hold her to it, and I'm gonna hint, like, so make sure that we get this.
Gotcha.
We can
Gotcha.
talk about what went into this. We told it in New York. So if you were in New York, you know. If you know, you know. But we talked about this because it was it's the funniest thing. It is the funniest thing ever. And it's taking everything in me not to say something, because it is that freaking funny. Like, and Callie tells it beautifully.
Gotcha. Well, we'll save that as a little secret for this commentary.
Oh yeah.
So moving forward, your next thing is your husband was a good man. The next thing you're going to be pushing.
Yep. I'm always gonna be pushing Bystanders, so you all will be sick of me. Because you know, Bystanders, that's my baby. That's my firstborn. But now we have Your Husband Was a Good Man. And
Which I so desperately wanted to accept an award for last summer when I happened to be at a film festival. I was like, hey, do you want to accept this?
and I was like, hell yeah. But hopefully we'll get to do some stuff soon with Your Husband Was a Good Man, because we have, oh my God, I've entered so many fests. You all are gonna be sick of me, like, but because you'll be like, wasn't she just in Bystanders? Didn't she just do Bystanders? And I'm like, yeah.
This girl's cranking them out.
Yeah, I was like, Mike Flanagan, is that you, but a woman? I'm hoping. I want that Mike Flanagan output, because I think that I could do that, but maybe I can't. I don't know, but I'd like to try. So we have Your Husband Was a Good Man. We have our first fest acceptance for that. If you like Bystanders, if you like Brad from Bystanders, but you don't want to see him be a piece of shit, you'll like Your Husband Was a Good Man, because Deaton Gabbard, who plays Brad in Bystanders, is my husband in this one. I said, I'm swapping them all out. I said, I'm going to go through every man in Bystanders is going to have to play my husband, or like my significant, which is funny because I already was joking with Eric Six, who plays Jeff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you're my next on-screen husband. He's like, yeah. And then Deaton gets offended because he thought I was replacing him with "And Your Husband Was a Good Man," because this is a proof of concept short.
Yeah.
With Eric. And I'm like, no, Eric's gonna play another man, not Your Husband Was a Good Man. So like, yeah, they'll just all just yeah, I've joked that they're all gonna play my husband now, but Deaton plays my husband. He is a high school teacher who was killed in a school shooting, and I am his bereaved wife who was pregnant at the time of his death. So I have a small child. I have like a 6-month-old baby that I've been taking care of. And it is a year since his death, and I resurrect him, and it works. But it has bloody consequences. So.
And not bloody consequences as in what the Brits would say.
Oh, no.
Bloody consequences. No.
Consequences.
Bloody consequences. Which I've seen that, and that one's a treat itself. You have a demented mind that I enjoy. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you. It's like, I know my audience, and I know that Brandon is my, that's like, what's your ideal audience, Brandon Peters? Brandon Peters will watch any fucking thing I
This
make.
prick.
Just go and go, this motherfucker right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a departure from Bystanders. So
Which is good. Yeah.
yeah,
good
so
idea.
if you want to see something that's less grindhouse and more like moody A24 neon type stuff from Jamie Alvey, you're getting it because
It's kind of, it's like your Mike Flanagan movie. That's what I'd say. Yeah, it's very, very Mike Flanagan. What's the fucking, we talked about it, the early one that we talked about when you're first on the show.
Absentia.
It's got very, very much style of story.
See, that's what I thought when I watched it.
Yeah.
Look, kept watching it back for like edits and stuff.
Mhm.
I looked at Emily and I was like, fuck. You can really see that absentia influence on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Because of course stuff like didn't occur. I was like, you can really see where I'm coming from, like inspiration wise, and like what I like to watch and in my spare time and what speaks to me, because like that one, it's heavy. Like Bystanders is heavy too, but there's a lot of levity
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted it to be something that wasn't a miserable watch.
Mm-hmm.
Your Husband Was a Good Man might be my miserable watch.
Gotcha.
It might be my miserable one because like one of my friends, God love her, Leslie Henderson, is a hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie's a hard ass. Leslie's not a crier. Your Husband Was a Good Man gets her every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it gets her. She said, I'm sitting here just crying. And she's like, I've seen this before and I'm still upset. That's the thing. Like, I'm one of the few actresses that can get her to cry.
There you go.
I'm so proud of that, because here's the thing. It's like, you can think I'm a bad actress, but I can make my hard ass bestie cry.
There you go.
You did. Like, I have won the award.
But you know what? At least you're acting, at least you're filming, at least you're in like what are the
Exactly.
other assholes doing?
What are you doing? You bitching on Letterboxd, babe? I can bitch on Letterboxd too. Let's go.
Yeah. It's that's a whole nother discussion. I'm not going to turn that corner into things.
I will say this. It's like, I'm not a crab in a bucket. I would like for everybody to, like, if you don't like something I've made, go make something you want. Go make something you like. Like, it's like, we're not in a, like, we need more media and more perspectives and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, just take what you didn't like and let that inspire you.
Yeah.
Let that inspire you. Like, at least make what was a miserable, horrible experience for you as a viewer, take that and, make something you would want to watch. Like that's my advice to you all. Because I'm looking forward to seeing it in earnest.
Yeah.
Like do it. Do it. Like again, like we have so much that we could be doing and like have fun with it. Like
Right.
because I'm like, there's some stuff that I watched that I didn't like, and I've used that as inspiration. As I've used stuff that I did like as inspiration. Like you can do that. So like hell yeah, just you know what? Turn it into something positive for you. And you'll have made it positive. You'll have made it positive for me by proxy.
There we go. We're gonna move on from there because that's a wonderful ending. Which Bystanders you can buy or rent now on PVOD. The next thing we're going to talk about, you don't have to pay for if you want to watch it. It's on Tubi and all the free places. It's The Wizard of Gore from 1970.
We're about to show you a few scenes of this movie, which is called The Wizard of Gore. For those of you who appreciate this type of cinematic art, you will see the most startling scenes of their type ever filmed. But for those of you with heart conditions, or who are with young and impressionable children, we ask that you turn around in your seats or leave this auditorium for the next 2 minutes. Thank you.
I am Montag, master of illusion. Your eyes may see, but your mind may refuse to believe. Permit me to show you a few of the tricks I perform in The Wizard of Gore.
The Wizard of Gore. This film will take its place in motion picture history as a milestone of extraordinary achievement. Never before have the weird, the eerie, the astonishing, the bewildering been shown in so stunning a film. Behind the facade of a normal world lies another world whose grisly mystery brings panic to some, satisfaction to others. An astounding achievement in bizarre, amazing theater, The Wizard of Gore.
Directed by Herschell Gordon Lewis, written by Alan Kahn, starring Ray Sager, Judy Clare, Wayne Rattay, and Phil Lawrenson. Movie's about a TV talk show hostess and her boyfriend who investigate a shady magician who has the ability to hypnotize and control the thoughts of people in order to stage gory onstage illusions using his powers of mind bending. This film was later re-released under the title House of Torture in 1982. There was a 5-film package deal of movies being sold to theaters, and there was other ones that had their names changed. Had a budget of $60,000 and was shot in Chicago over 2 weeks. And they remade it in 2007, starring Kip Pardue, Bijou Phillips, Crispin Glover, Brad Dourif, and Jeffrey Combs.
A wild cast for a remake, though.
Right, yeah. So why this movie? Well, Jamie and I always talk about low-budget cheapies. And, you know, I currently decided this year, like, I have box sets of movies that I have started and never finished or something like that. And my goal this year was like, I'm gonna finish some of these box sets. The current one I'm going through is the Herschell Gordon Lewis box set from Arrow Films. So when Jamie was like, hey, we should talk cheap movies soon, I was like, well, I'm going through Herschell Gordon Lewis's movies. So
I love
I'm
that.
about to hit Wizard of Gore, which is like the A title of all his one of them. So I'm like, fuck it. So it's literally random, landed on the right time. And so if you're a listener, like, who the fuck picked the Wizard? Like, what's the Wizard of Gore? Why he's coming back with the Wizard of Gore? Here we are.
Someone's gonna
Deal
say
with it.
fate chose it.
Fate didn't choose it. It was just where I was at in a box set watch. And I was like, all right.
When you suggested that, I was like, oh, okay, the Juno movie.
That's exactly it. So I want to say that. So the first time I ever heard of Herschell Gordon Lewis was Juno. Like when she's like the Wizard of Gore. What's it? And it looked like a fake movie made for the movie at first. And he's like a real dude. And like I was like, okay. And then this movie, they're like, in Juno, they're like, yeah, Argento got everything from him and blah blah blah. Like Argento made better movies too. Like. And so going through the Herschell Gordon Lewis box set, which I had seen, like I had gone through most of it before, but I never finished. So I went back and started going again. Like, I don't know that I'm a big fan of his movies.
Like I think there's a cool idea. Like, there's a cool idea there, but like, does it want to be an episode of SVU?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking like this guy's whole canon is like, yeah, he's the godfather of gore. But like, the movies are
atrocious.
Almost. So this one, yeah. So is this like, what's your experience with Herschell Gordon Lewis before we get into Wizard of Gore, Jamie? Like,
this is my first one because
okay.
Because I was like, okay, I'll dive into this because this is something that I'm not too familiar with because I come from the I love 70s. Obviously, I love 70s horror.
Yeah.
I love 70s horror. I love like just that whole vibe. I love film grain. I just everything about 70s horror. So I'm like, cool, let's go. Let's see. This is the Juno again. This is the Juno
movie. Yeah.
Like, I guess this is time. This is time. I love Diablo Cody. Let's do it for her. Mwah. Love Queen. And I was like, let's dive in. I didn't know what to expect because what do you expect from a movie called Wizard of Gore? Like,
right.
What the hell is it even going to be about? And then it's this magician who kills these people on stage and then, but not really. And then they come off, they're fine, and then they die in the same way later.
Yeah. Like, but like it just happens to their body. Like it's not like the exact same way. Yeah. Yeah. So Herschell Gordon Lewis is known like for having the first movie notated as a splatter movie, which was Blood Feast, which it's a movie. And then he also made the first considered like roughy picture with a movie called Scum of the Earth, which was like a very abusive of women type movie exploitation picture. And then of course like notable titles that he made later with like 2000 Maniacs, which is one of his big classics. Something Weird. He made like a modern Dracula kind of remake with A Taste of Blood, and then he made like the Gore Girls, and he also made like She Devils on Wheels, which was like a Easy Rider biker. Yeah, and everything's cheap. Everything has that local flair, like homegrown flair to it. And it's just, I don't know, like it's interesting. Like this guy is interesting to study, but not entertaining to watch.
That's the thing. Like I was like, this is either going to be really bad or really fun. And because that's the thing. Like I think it's weird because like you picked this. It's just for me to talk about Bystanders too, which is pretty funny because I'm like rubbing like right up against Herschell Gordon Lewis in a weird like creative way because how much Bystanders was inspired by like 70s exploitation, like low budget horror. And you could not ask for two films that are so from such different schools of like 70s, like as because I'll full discretion. I'm a Wes Craven girly.
Yeah.
Through when it comes to like low budget, like weird exploitation horror. And then I watched this and I'm like, this is either going to be really good or it's going to be a hot mess. All I knew was the part from Juno that Argento stole everything from him. And I'm like, did he?
Right.
Like, it just looks like, I mean, the effects are okay for the time period, but it just looks like somebody's got like a bunch of ground meat up on this person. And like,
Bava was doing stuff already too. Like,
and here's a full discretion and no offense to Herschell.
Yeah.
I love Mario Bava. He could not hold a candle to Mario Bava.
No, or Argento, or Fulci, or like,
because like that's the thing. Like we like to act like, oh yeah, like this was just like again, this is Italian slasher trash.
Yeah.
It's kind of thing that they try to act like it is, but I'm like, no, Bava and like Fulci and Argento had like stylistic flair.
Yeah. They had voices, they had color, they had great cinematography, they had good act, like and they went for it on stuff. Like and this feels like, I feel like, this Wizard of Gore honestly feels like they filmed all this like Psycho Circus stuff, and then they're like, is there a movie we could make around this?
And that's why they have this, that's why they have the in-between parts where it becomes like this hard-hitting journalist.
Yeah.
And her man running around, and I was like, because that was my other thought, that you picked it because it's a couple. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck.
I'm happy to disappoint you with my randomness of picking it. And you're like, he has a reason. It's Brandon. Brandon picked this. He did something. I'm trying to.
Because it's never as exciting as I think it is. Because like the last time when you did series 7, I thought it was because we have pregnant people killing people.
Yeah.
Because Claire's pregnant and Bystanders.
Yeah.
Is this it? But no, like series 7 fucking it fucks, it slaps, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to take it down a few notches for this one. We had to let Bystanders be the prestige picture for this podcast.
You do. Like, God, like, I that's why if nobody's, because that's the thing, I'm like, this is a film. It's one of those movies where you're just sitting back and you're like, this is a film. Somebody made it. Like, I think there's an idea there that would be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Mario Bava would have had to have done it for it to have actually like been pulled off correctly.
I'll tell you what, if I had been a kid, like if say I'm like 5th grade, middle school, something like that, and it's like the 80s, and I got this VHS bootleg of The Wizard of Gore, I'd have been fucking down with this movie. I'd have been like, well, what is this? Well, and then you come back to it as an adult and you're like, huh. Like that's like where this movie probably would have like slapped, as we'll say, is like VHS ratty, like just like, oh man, I'm watching something I shouldn't be, or this
like,
is banned.
There's so much innards in here, like he's shoving a blade down a woman's throat.
I will say the gore is fun.
Yeah, like
I like it. It's the Wizard of Gore, and the gore doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, it does its base function. it delivers on the gore in the Wizard of Gore, and like, oh my God! But it is just almost just beautifully 70s gore because it's too bright, like too liquidy.
It's like Dutch boy paint red gore, like blood. Like
that's fun. The deaths are fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's some thought, like there's some creativity
it's
there.
Like Fulci'd love it because they're doing the eyes. They're like There's one girl he like I don't know. It's not like a drill. He just like puts this like metal like into the head, pulls the brain out, picks the eyes out.
Like they're doing just a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
And then it also we have a journalist.
Yeah. Yep. And her actor boyfriend, isn't he like he's like an actor, right?
Like something, and he's there too. Like he's there too. And they're trying to figure
I like the wizard. So the title, The Wizard of Gore. The wizard's good. I like him.
Yeah.
The gore is good. So it delivers on the title.
Yeah. He's a natural showman.
And he was a last minute replacement. He was a crew member. The actor quit and he just stepped into the role and took it.
Well, you could not have accidentally picked a better movie for fucking
I can't see a world where the Wizard of Gore doesn't have this man.
Yeah, that's the same with Bystanders because Garrett was not the first, believe it or not the first choice for Gray. But he was the right choice for Gray.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so like again, this is serendipitous. Like this is perfect.
Yeah, there you go. And I'll say things nice, right? Because we should, if we're being critical of this movie and be like, but I think that's been the reaction of the movie all along. Like every Herschell Gordon Lewis movie is like a cult movie, so it's gonna have.
It doesn't have to be great,
right?
It just have the goal.
I like the scenes where he carries women to the mausoleum and it's red tinted. They put like a red filter, and he carries them to the mausoleum and puts them. It's very almost like old school public access trying to do something nifty, creepy.
Like this could have almost been like if there was just a certain slant to it. There's almost something gothic about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
those parts, and which I really liked, and like I think that there's just something just beautiful about the film grain on this.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
right.
I'm gonna wax poetic about that because I'm like, oh my god, there's just something.
Well, it's dirty too. It hasn't been really restored properly either. Like even my Blu-ray and the Tubi one, like.
And that's the thing. I loved that. Like, there's just so unerringly nostalgic about the viewing experience of this because it's one of those movies. It's like, yeah, it may not be like perfect or anything, but like. It has vibes.
It does have, that's perfect because it's got vibe. You could merch Wizard of Gore. It's got enough iconography, costuming, makeup.
Emily was talking about the costuming. She was like, damn, I'm digging the costume. Like, it's just like almost like this perfect time capsule of like early 70s pastiche.
Yeah, you could see like Rob Zombie making a music video based around the Wizard of Gore. Yeah. You know, I
could see him remaking it.
Yeah.
Like, let's have the dark, gritty Rob Zombie.
Right. Right. So, like, yeah, it's got stuff. It's got some, you said it's got vibes. It's got, like, it's memorable in ways. It's just, it's one of those things that, like, when you think about it, you're higher on it than when you're watching it. When you're watching it, it's kind of like it's almost like get to the gore, or just have the wizard talk to the screen.
Yeah, I like the wizard. He's got a nifty mustache, charismatic. He's he's fun. He's a showman, and like I would not have believed that this man was part of the crew and a last minute replacement.
Yeah.
So all credit to him because like he's fun. Like this man was born for this. He was born for the stage. He was born.
This is the greatest show. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There you go. That's what Rob Zombie should do, a cover of that song and have it set to the Wizard of Gore. His music video will be the Wizard of Gore, and Sherry can be one of the ladies that he's torturing.
No, they would love that.
And Jeff Daniel Phillips could be the wizard. That'd be perfect if they did.
Oh yeah, just you could put Bill Moseley somewhere in
Bill
there.
Moseley in there. Get what's his name? Daniel Roebuck playing somebody. There we go. There we go. This, the Rob Zombie's Wizard of Gore.
And then we can put a picture of Sid Haig somewhere in memory of him.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. It
And
works.
everybody goes to the theater with blood on their hands. They're like, yeah, what? Because there's that weird blood on the hands thing where it's like, yo, you got blood on your hands now. You got blood on your hands.
Like there's so much it's one of those movies that it's like there's so much going on, but also it's like what is going on at the same time. It's like what's the plot?
I should have watched the remake just to see what they gathered from this and told.
Kind of curious about that too, because I was reading a little bit before I came on here, and I was like, Crispin Glover, that's like almost the perfect person to do something like this.
Yes.
And I said as much. I was like, yeah, that's the right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good casting there, because I'm like,
no notes.
Yeah.
We don't need to see anyone else. We got the guy.
He didn't even audition. He just walked in and they were like, yeah.
Didn't even have to costume him. He was ready. This movie, there's a nostalgia for like old production stuff, like the big TV, like cameras being seen, stagey stuff, carnival stuff. It wants to be intriguing with this like TV reporter stuff, but that should be some of the juiciest stuff in the movie, and it just like sucks the life out of it every time we have to go back to her and her boyfriend just being like,
it's like the opposite. It's like almost the anti-Scream in that way, because it's so fun when it's Gale.
Yeah. And
but they just like, you're just sitting there like, where's the wizard?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Where's the wizard? And then they try to have this like romantic moment with like a sex scene that just is like, okay, we're in bed and cut. Like, oh, okay, we're not even going there. Like, what are we?
Weird for a 70s film, because if you're just gonna, like, they were just showing everything back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we've got blood, guts, and boobs. Sold. We're throwing this in every drive-in. Like, you know?
And then they couldn't deliver on the other thing that horror is known for.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a weird last like 10 minutes where it actually feels like it hit something running, where it's got the whole like where they push him in the fire, but he's like not dead, and he's in the boyfriend, but then it's her. Like it's got a weird, very interesting where it picks up the pace and moves a bit, but it's like the last 9 or 10 minutes, and that's it. Like,
God, and honest to goodness, this is one of those movies that you're sitting and watching, and you're like, I wonder what David Lynch thought of this, because he saw it.
Oh, David Lynch, John Waters, like Tim Burton, Paul Rubens, they were going to midnight screenings of this thing.
They were watching all the weird stuff. That's like, but now we would have to like actually like get out a Ouija board to conjure David Lynch for his opinion on this. And I'm like, shit, that's the one.
Oh, I saw the Wizard of Gore, Herschell. he had this guy. It's totally. Yeah. You would like it, but like with a Lynch thing, there's depth to it. With this, there's.
I feel like I feel like he wants it to seem deeper than it is. Like he wants it. And I think that's what the reporter stuff is meant to do. Is to add I think I think there's an earnest effort.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if it's working, but I think there's an effort.
Right. So there's on the Blu-ray set, he introduces every film. They got him to introduce every film on it. And this one, he said one of the things he was hoping to create was he wanted people to leave the theater going, what the heck did I just see? That was what he wanted with The Wizard of Gore.
He succeeded. I think that's honest to God, I think that's kind of honorable in a weird way, because like sometimes you want that out of your audience, for people to have a little bit of what the fuck.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, this is one of them that it's one of the better ones of the films in terms of, and because of that what the fuck, because there's a lot of the ones I've watched, there's like, ho hum, just and he had a period where he liked like hillbilly stuff and just it's really weird. This and like 2000 Maniacs, probably of the better that I've watched. I liked his Taste of Blood, the Dracula one, because it's a Dracula story, but it's very set a camera down and just let people act in a on a soundstage type stuff, and it's like, I can take so much of this because these are very low budget, very regional, and not able to employ the most engaging of thespians, but it is what it is.
They should have brought the Wizard Man back.
Yeah,
Put him in, because that's the thing. Think that's almost Lynchian, just picking somebody up out of the, like how they did Bob.
Right.
He should have just kept him and put him in everything. He should have made him his muse.
Yeah.
Should have kept sticking him in, and then been like, people would have been like, it's the wizard, but he's not the wizard in this.
Return to the Wizard of Gore. Yeah.
I was almost expecting it to have some weird Wizard of Oz theme, actually.
the wizarding world of Gore. That theme park.
Yeah, you know what? If anybody wants to invest on that, I will open it up. I can't promise it'll be good. I'll have to find somebody that has the charisma of the wizard.
Yeah.
But I'll try.
Bring that Ned Flanders energy. Yeah. So like
Oh no, Emily's over here whispering, just hire Garrett. He's got a mustache. I mean,
there you go.
That's half the battle.
Half the battle is having that good stash. That's
having that. Yeah, it really is.
That's good.
That's what I've been laughing at the reviews, like the user reviews. They're like, the man with the mustache. There's one that goes that way, and I'm like, he has a name. It's Gray, but like, it's 10 times funnier when you say that.
Mr. Mustache over here. So yeah, the Wizard of Gore. It's a weird thing. I don't know if it's recommendable, but if you were curious from Juno watching,
it's recommendable because I think I'll say this. I think that most media does have some inherent value, even if it is just historic. And I will say this, I think that you can learn something from the Wizard of Gore about this 70s low budget weird style of film that people were making back then. I do think that it is historically, I think it is culturally significant, but maybe not in the way that other things are historically and culturally significant.
Fair. Yeah, and I'm just, I've got now, after Wizard of Gore, there's like 2 movies left in this box set, and it's a set I got long ago. It's now out of print. The version I have is out of print because I got the one that comes in a cereal box size box, and it's got books and stuff, and it's all this stuff, but I'm like, I haven't enjoyed going through most of these movies like I thought I might. So
my God.
I don't know. I'm just like, I wish it was higher on Herschell Gordon Lewis. Like, I like the gore effects and stuff, but
it's like, what do you like? The Wizard.
The Wizard, yeah, the Wizard of Gore. I have to say, at least this was one of my favorite ones of the set. But I'm just like, okay, I've got this very expensive set. It was a gift though. That's out of print. That I'm just like, I feel bad. I'm like,
I will say this. I am impressed with the fact that those are some really imaginative kills on a small budget.
Yes, they're going for it. It is.
That's the thing. Like there's so many disparate parts of this to like, but it just does not come together into a product that you like at the same time.
Yeah.
It creates a weird feeling, and you're like, I think I get what you're going for.
Yeah. Maybe I need to load up on some edibles and watch Wizard of Gore, and maybe it'll take on a whole new avenue.
If not edibles, I feel like this is the perfect kind of movie to watch with like a bunch of friends where everybody is completely sleep deprived.
There you go.
If you don't do edibles or anything, sleep deprivation would probably work for this. Because then everything's funny when there's
Yeah.
sleep deprivation, and you're just gonna be giggling at it.
Fair enough.
And like, yeah, so like I was like, something like this would work for sleep deprivation.
Yeah, definitely a group movie for sure.
Oh yeah, because like maybe it's one of those things that's better in the communal space of a theater, because we can all like, yeah, like now I'm wondering what it would be like to watch this in a theater. Are we somebody let us host a screening of
Midnight screening. There we go.
I'll dress up as the journalist. Brandon will dress up as the wizard, and we'll do it.
There we go. Make it happen, some theater chain or whoever doing it. So cool. Well, Jamie, I appreciate you coming back on again. One last time, where can people keep up with both you and Bystanders?
All right. So you can find me at my website, jamiealvey.com. I am very active over on Instagram and all of that at JBAlvey. I'm easy to find. I try to make myself easy to find because, like, God, I do so much weird stuff. Please support me. And I'm active over on Blue Sky, again, at Jamie Alvey. Everything's Jamie Alvey. My website has everything you could ever want to know about me and or Bystanders right now. But Bystanders is currently available on, I have a list.
All right.
Where we are available as of right now. It's like now I'm in marketing mode. Apple TV, Fandango at Home, Google Play, Microsoft Store, and YouTube. I also have those linked over on my Blue Sky right now. But you can also, I want to talk about the original music that is from Bystanders.
Okay.
You can purchase the original tracks that were scored for the film by Delorum. They are fantastic. I suggest that you do that because they are beautiful, they're atmospheric, they're perfect. And like, you also get a bonus track that was not in the film.
Oh.
And the title is Claire and Gray. So yeah, I could not, like, the culmination of a dream of mine right there. Like, who doesn't want to see their characters' names on a piece of, like, oh, absolutely perfect. But yeah, go do that as well. So just go watch Bystanders, rent it, buy it, review it. Even if you don't like it, again, that's going to give us, if you have it in your heart to like give us just a little bit of traction, that's okay too. Again, you don't have to like it, but please support not just myself and my wonderful cast and crew, which is made up of just some fantastic people. We have some that returned for Your Husband Was a Good Man. Bino Bannon, who is the key grip on Bystanders, is the cinematographer for Your Husband Was a Good Man, and it is gorgeous. He is amazing. Callie is back. Deaton is back from the dead, literally, in this. So we do have a strong Bystanders connection there. So go find them and support them. Like, this is just two productions made up of people that I just adore creatively from top to bottom. And I could not be more thankful for that and them. And just go support them also. And give us some love, give us some likes and watches and whatever. And yeah, it's it's an important time to support independent film because usually independent film will actually go there.
Mhm.
Independent film will push boundaries in ways that you're not going to see in mainstream. And yeah, it's not going to have the biggest budget, but you got to look past that. You got to look past that for the other elements that are in it. Independent film is where I found my voice. It's where I found my passion from the time I was a, like young teenager,
Mhm.
dipping my toes into horror. This is where I found myself, and now I am a part of this tradition. So please go out and support independent film today. Support some women that are out there making stuff, because it is difficult to do that in this climate as a woman, because people, of course, are like, hey, it's a free-for-all. It's a woman. I will say, since we talked about the Wizard of Gore that is on Tubi, I'm going to shout out Perfectly Good Moment, which is also on Tubi. So if you want to watch a good movie
Mhm.
after you've met the wizard, you can do that. It is directed and written by women, and funny enough, it stars the writer of the film as the lead in it. So Amanda Jane Stern.
Okay.
So we've joked that we should do a double feature showing of that at some time, because we're like, yeah, but they're both very topical films. And I just wanted to take a second to, give back to her, because she has been so sweet and so supportive of Bystanders and everything. And like, heck yeah, just go out and support some independent film
All right.
today. And make sure that we get a physical release so we can talk about this, and
Yeah.
Callie can talk about that castration.
There you go. There you go. All right. And I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD, mostly Blue Sky and Instagram right now. Also, remember to check out the YouTube channel PopCon. Also, that is coming June 27th and 29th in Indianapolis. Be sure to sign up for or check out the podcast awards of the podcast stage, which I am in charge of, as always. All info for that is at popcon.us. The show returns next week, but until then, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.